ජීවිතේ වැඩිපුර ලැබෙන හොඳම දේවල් විඳින්න. දැන් SLT broadband වෙතින් 75% දක්වා වැඩිපුර data සතුට ජනවාරි 1 වෙනිදා සිට ශ්‍රී ලංකා ටෙලිකොම්.
More restrictions. Curfew blankets Kandy yet again. In effect from 8 p.m. today until 5 a.m. tomorrow. Attempts at normalcy. The army commander says it is time to review the curfew.
We should not be hindering the day-to-day normal life of the public in this district.
Peacekeeping. UN Under-Secretary General for Political Affairs meets the President and the Prime Minister to discuss democracy and reconciliation. Strong calls. Fingers firmly pointed at the government for failing to arrest the Kandy unrest. At last, US President Donald Trump says he is prepared to meet the North Korean leader for talks. Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhammika Kanayaka. Now we start off this evening with an update on the Kandy unrest. Police media spokesperson ASP Ruwan Gunasekar announced that a curfew will be imposed in the Kandy administrative district from 8 p.m. today until 5 a.m. tomorrow. The curfew, however, will exclude the area under the purview of the Kandy Municipal Council. Speaking at a media briefing today, the police media spokesperson added that 146 suspects are arrested in connection to the unrest thus far.
A 12-hour curfew, which was reimposed in the Kandy Administrative District from 6 p.m. yesterday, was lifted at 6 this morning.
Due to the unfortunate incident which took place in the recent past, since the army was brought in, the Navy and the Air Force also have supported the armed forces together, and we have managed to control the situation in the sense understanding the root cause of the problem and understanding the aspirations of the people. Today, the Army, Navy and Air Force are deployed in such a way that we will curtail such attempt by other adversaries and the organized gangs and the groups, basically the people who have come from outside. We believe that most of the activities have been carried out by the people from outside. Arrest action has been taken by the police, and we are here deployed to ensure security is provided and the belief and the trust is built among the public. Last few days, due to the unfortunate incident, they had to declare curfew. Now I believe as of today, the time has come, we have to review that decision, and curfew could be released in such a way. We should not be hindering the day-to-day normal life of the public in this district.
Now, in the meantime, many businesses were seen closed today in the area of Petta in Colombo in response to the incidents in Kandy. Minister of Local Government and Provincial Councils Faisal Mustafa met the business community in Petta and later told media that they are of the view that the country's police could have been more active during Kandy incident.
Many shops in Petta were seen closed this morning as a result of the Kandy incident. In such a backdrop, Minister of Local Government and Provincial Councils Faisal Mustafa arrived in the area and conversed with shop owners on their issues.
I discussed with the police regarding the security of this area. Police and the residents are pleased with the security. We are aware that these problems are not being created by the businessmen in the area but outsiders. They are trying to complicate the situation. When I was discussing with the business community in Petta, they were so worried about the incident that took place in Kandy. I witnessed that most of the shops were closed, not in protest of the government or the police, but as a move of showing sympathy to their fellow community residing in Kandy. They told me that they are not against the government or police, but the police should have proceeded more actively with regard to the incident in Kandy. Now, the leader of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, MP Anukumara Disanayaka, states that the government should be held responsible for the failure to control the incident in Kandy, which in turn worsened and led to the 2 deaths and property damage. The parliamentarian made the remark during a satyagraha staged, satyagraha staged by the party, that is, which was staged in Colombo today.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna, together with the National Bhikkhu Front, organised a Satyagraha at the Vihara Mahadevi Park today. The Satyagraha demanded that the government enforce law to prevent racial conflict and establish reconciliation, peace and harmony.
Racial politics in our country increased methodically in the recent past. The growing racial politics in our country should be defeated. Especially during the incident that occurred in Derana, the government failed to control it. The government should hold the responsibility for it, which led to 2 murders and property damage. This showcases the government's failure in establishing law, peace and stability, just as they failed in all other sectors. Now, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that the public do not accept allegations levelled against the joint opposition by the government implicating them in the recent clashes in Kandy. Now, the former president made the remark while addressing a media briefing following a discussion with religious leaders in Kandy today.
The discussion was held under the patronage of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the residence of UPFA MP Lohan Ratwatta, with the participation of Anunayaka Thevaras of Malwatu and Asgiri chapters, as well as Islamic Maulavis this morning.
Prince Al Hussein states in Geneva that Sri Lankan Buddhists attack Muslims. Representatives of the United States too are going to arrive in Sri Lanka. Therefore, we kindly request that this issue be resolved by ourselves. We agree with most of the things. Most of all, you have understood our issues better than our own people. This is a good lesson for our people. Sinhalese have an issue and we should find out what it is. Go to the villages and see what the real issue is. They try to introduce the word reconciliation now, but we don't specially need it. We already have it in our national anthem. But is it being implemented? Let us all get together, respecting each other. That's how we can coexist. We engaged as an intermediary. I think the results were fruitful. The basic mistake they made was to arrest the suspects and release them on bail after the victim was hospitalized. That gave rise to a different view among the public. Suspects were arrested after the victim died. Yes, although it's the opposition which is doing this should have been done by the government. We held discussions following requests from the Muslim communities and the Jamiatul organization. Both parliamentarians are here now. Such accusations are levelled to aggravate matters. They did the same thing with the Berwala incident, and it is the same with this incident as well. People can't be fooled every day. In the meantime, a group of religious leaders came forward to call for public condemnation of racial and religious unrest. My view about this situation is that a clash between 2 groups gave rise to religious and racial unrest. This news rapidly spread across the world and Sri Lanka is being considered a risky country. It could lead to certain countries taking advantage from the situation.
Remove the threats of irreligiosity and secularism from society. Allow religion to play its real role and help people to get together. On the other side, don't consider religion as a source of disunity and fighting among each other. All of us are for peace. We want our people not to undermine this unity and peace that we have had in this country. For no reason. We wish that will be understood by all.
It is clear now that this is not a clash between 2 races because investigations prove so. No harm was done by the Buddhists, who are the majority population in this country. Of course, in the recent days, the political arena has been rife with views regarding the Kandy unrest, and today was no different. This is what the political arena had to offer on the subject today. A website of the United National Party stated that Lohan Ratwatta sent mafia from Teldenia to initiate these attacks. I vehemently reject such allegations. I will take necessary legal action against this website. Who is responsible with regards to the unrest which took place in Digana, Kandy and other areas? We request that all measures be taken to find out who is behind this and to take action against them. The government is attempting to spread extremism so that the Islamic community will be against the joint opposition. But we know that even Muslims will not be duped by their actions. Just because they go and burn shops, assault people and burn houses as well as commit murder, it does not empower Buddhism. The situation in Kandy has not yet ended. As a government, they should take measures to instill peace in the country. As much as there are allegations against the flower bud, there are also votes. The Broadcasters Guild in Sri Lanka says all television channels acted with responsibility when reporting events in Kandy. Convening a media briefing, the Broadcasters Guild also vowed to continue its responsible conduct.
The Broadcasters Guild in Sri Lanka convened a media briefing today to discuss the manner in which the national media reacted and responded when broadcasting the sequence of incidents that ensued in Kandy.
We saw that all national media networks in the country fulfilled their task of reporting the recent unrest situation, ensuring that the issue will not be aggravated. The Broadcasters Guild in Sri Lanka is committed to work towards avoiding such incidents from happening again. As a country, we are in competition with the rest of the world, but we are unable to improve our economy because other countries are trying to overcome us. It is the people that will suffer eventually at the face of economic challenges. Therefore, we as broadcasters hope to launch a long-term program that will educate people. We hope the fire will be put out as a result. Newly appointed Minister of Law and Order, Ranjit Bandara, says he will stand to protect officials of both security units and state sector who implement the law to the letter. The minister made the remark assuming duties in his new capacity today.
Minister Ranjit Bandara, who was sworn in as the new Minister of Law and Order, took office this morning at the ministry premises in Battaramulla following religious observances. Ministers, members of parliament and the Inspector General of Police participated at the occasion.
We will reveal to the public very soon the people and the reasons behind the country's current crisis. The police, law and order should take right decisions at the right time. I ask officials to act on their conscience and I will stand by them as their Minister of Law and Order. Events in Kandy continue to dominate parliamentary proceedings today as well. Several parliamentarians pointed the finger at the government for failing to effectively arrest the situation. The international media reports that a racist situation has arisen in the country. The damage incurred by that is more than what was done by the LTT over the years. We are glad that there are Sinhalese and Tamil factions who are against racism. We request Islamic leaders to start talking against Islamic racism. I stood up during meetings and asked the President to stop this because a disaster was beckoning. Why isn't law being imposed? I complained to the Prime Minister, the Minister of Law and Order, and there are complaints lodged under my name at the police headquarters. No measure was taken. I am ashamed to remain in the government as a parliamentarian of the governing party. Minister, this was done for years. There is a political agenda to destabilise the government. But as a government, why do we let it happen? We have an intelligence unit which could locate where Pottu Amman was and Prabhakaran was. Wasn't it able to stop this situation, or didn't the government want to stop this? The only way to find out what happened is by appointing an independent presidential commission. Everyone will then be able to know who created racism in the country. Yes, Minister, let's appoint a committee. But did the incident in Kandy trigger due to Muslim racism? Did the incident in Gingtota occur due to racism? It happened because the Sinhalese and Tamil had a fight and then one died. If the police arrested them, this destruction wouldn't have happened. We don't talk about that, but we talk about balancing the situation. Keep your head up and talk right.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, UN Under-Secretary General for Political Affairs, Jeffrey Feltman, who is in Sri Lanka, met President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today. Feltman is currently engaged in a 3-day visit in the island.
Issuing a communique today, the President's media division said that the UN official was impressed with the government's effort in strengthening democracy, peace and reconciliation in the country. During discussions, President Maithripala Sirisena extended his gratitude to the United Nations' support and guidance in this regard. Feltman said that the United Nations will render its fullest support in the government's initiative to promote reconciliation and development in future. Meanwhile, bilateral discussions were held between Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and a delegation led by UN Under-Secretary General for Political Affairs, Jeffrey Feltman, this morning. Following the meeting, Feltman visited the Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, President's Counsel Kapila Vaidyaratne at the Ministry today. Discussions were held on matters relating to the national reconciliation process, including land release. Feltman will be in the country until the 11th of this month and is expected to meet the President, senior officials from the government, political parties and representatives of civil organizations.
A medical camp to educate the public on the prevention of kidney disease was carried out by Manusad Derana together with the Sidham Hospital in Colombo to mark International Women's Day and the World Kidney Day, which fell yesterday. Kidneys and women's health was the theme of the medical camp. The special medical camp launched today will continue for the next 2 days at the Sidham Hospital in Colombo. Appointments to attend the free medical camp can be made by calling 0117 463 600. I repeat, 0117 463 600. Manusad Derana has conducted more than 30 medical camps countrywide so far for the benefit of the general public. Now, the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority says that the total number of tourist arrivals to Sri Lanka during the month of February was 235,618. Now, this showed a growth of 19.3% in comparison to February last year. The report added that China, India, the United Kingdom, Germany and France were Sri Lanka's top 5 international tourist-generating markets last month. China was the largest source of tourist traffic to Sri Lanka with 15% of the total traffic received in February. India accounted for 14% of the total traffic, while 10% came from the UK, with Germany and France both accounting for 7% each. Now, the Asian Development Bank has decided to extend a loan and grant assistance of $5 billion under the South Asia Sub-Regional Economic Cooperation Program. This will be allocated to fund 26 projects relating to transport, energy and trade facilitation in participating countries, which include Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Myanmar and Nepal between 2018 to 2020. This was announced following a meeting in Singapore, which saw the participation of senior officials of member countries of the South Asia Sub-Regional Economic Cooperation Program to review progress of regional projects. They also updated and improved the SASCC operational plan, which was identified about 300 projects in transport, energy and trade facilitation. Now, President Donald Trump has moved ahead with steep tariffs on steel, aluminum, upsetting many of America's biggest trading partners yesterday. The White House says that tariff on steel and aluminum imports will start in 15 days with initial exemptions for Canada and Mexico and the possibility of alternatives for other countries.
The tariffs of 25% on steel and 10% on aluminium, proclaimed by Trump yesterday during an event at the White House, appear to soften what the US president billed last week as a global no-exceptions move to protect the two industries under a 1962 national security trade law.
Today, I'm defending America's national security by placing tariffs on foreign imports of steel and aluminum. We will have a 25% tariff on foreign steel and a 10% tariff on foreign aluminum when the product comes across our borders. We're negotiating now with China. We're in the midst of a big negotiation. I don't know that anything's going to come of it.
Meanwhile, Japan's top government spokesperson Yoshihide Suga said today Japan will continue to ask the US to exempt it from Washington's plan to impose tariffs on import of steel and aluminium. Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull meanwhile said that Australia remains relentless in getting its steel exempt from US tariffs.
11 Asia-Pacific countries signed the Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership Trade Pact at a ceremony in the Chilean city of Santiago today. According to Chilean and Canadian trade statistics, even without the United States, the deal will span a market of nearly 500 million people, making it one of the world's largest trade agreements. The agreement will become effective when at least 6 member nations have completed domestic procedures to ratify it, possibly before the end of the year. The original 12-member agreement, known as the Trans-Pacific Partnership, was thrown into limbo early last year when Trump withdrew from the deal 3 years after his inauguration. Now to bring you an update on the markets, the ASPI ended 0.46% firmer at 6,551.19 today, with a turnover of 868.9 million rupees. During the week, the ASPI and the S&P SL20 lost 0.09% and 0.51% respectively, while recording an average daily turnover of 741 million rupees. Let's cross over to Imeshi Fernando from the Colombo Stock Exchange for a detailed report.
The turnover was 868.97 million rupees with 42.2 million shares changing hands in 8,559 trades. The market capitalization at the end of the day was 3,058.77 billion rupees. Today's foreign purchases were 503.94 million rupees and foreign sales were 565.24 million rupees. There were 4 crossings today and the crossing turnover was 227.07 million rupees.
Now to bring you up to date on one of the most high-profile court cases, the Colombo High Court today rejected bail application filed by owner of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Arjun Aloysius, and CEO Kasun Palisena. Attorneys representing Aloysius and Palisena filed the revision application seeking bail before the High Court on February 26th. The office in charge of the CID's Financial Crimes Division, the director of the CID and the Attorney General were named as respondents in the petition. The petitioners point out that their bail application was rejected by the Colombo Fort Magistrates Court under the Public Property Act. However, they request that the decision of the Magistrates Court be revised and bail granted as no crimes have been uncovered under the Public Property Act in the reports presented by the Criminal Investigations Department. Now we got international news coming on the other side of this break, so stay tuned.
Watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Welcome back. Now it's time to have a look at news from around the world. US President Donald Trump says he is prepared to meet North Korea's Kim Jong-un in what would be the first face-to-face encounter between the two countries' leaders and potentially mark a major breakthrough in nuclear tensions with Pyongyang. South Korea's National Security Office head Chung Eui-yong told reporters at the White House yesterday that Kim has committed to denuclearization and to suspending nuclear and missile tests.
The statement from the head of South Korea's National Security Office, Chung Eui-yong, came after briefing US President Donald Trump on a meeting South Korean officials held with North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un earlier this week. After speaking to Chung, US President Donald Trump took to Twitter and said, quote, "A meeting is being planned," unquote. Chung said Trump had agreed to meet by May in response to Kim's invitation. A senior US official said later it could happen, quote, "in a matter of a couple of months, with the exact timing and place still to be determined," unquote. Regional superpower China welcomed the positive signals from the United States and North Korea today, while Japan said North Korea's willingness to meet US President Donald Trump is a result of US and Japan's efforts in applying pressure on Pyongyang.
Let's take a look at some other emerging stories from around the world.
Thousands of South Korean residents in Gansan, where General Motors plans to shut a factory, held a rally in Seoul today to protest the automaker's move. Various protesters said they felt betrayed by the US company after being loyal to GM in the past. Hong Kong heads to the polls on Sunday to choose its legislators after 4 pro-democracy lawmakers were disqualified from its legislative council last year. A total of 6 lawmakers were disqualified from their posts for failing to take their oaths properly. All 6 made gestures of defiance against Beijing's tightening grip over Hong Kong's autonomy by adding or changing words. A Mexican center dedicated to the conservation and rehabilitation of the country's national bird, the golden eagle, has showcased its successes in caring for the endangered species. It currently cares for 44 birds of prey, of which 10 are golden eagles, which have been rescued from different parts of the country.
Time for sports, and let's start with some of the cricket which was played yesterday. After suffering a 5-wicket defeat against Sri Lanka in the opening match of the Tri-Nation Series Nidahas Trophy, India bounced back with a 6-wicket victory against Bangladesh. Bangladesh managed 139 for the loss of 8 wickets in their allotted 20 overs, but India chased the target down with 8 balls to spare with 6 wickets in hand.
With their spinners stifling the scoring rate and picking up wickets at regular intervals to restrict Bangladesh to a meagre 139. Liton Das was the highest run scorer for Bangladesh with his knock of 34. Indian seamer Jaidev Unadkat was the pick of the bowlers, finishing with a career best figures of 3 for 38. India was largely untroubled in their chase, with opener Shikhar Dhawan yet again top scoring for them with a knock of 55. They comfortably got over the line in 48.4 overs with 6 wickets in hand. Sri Lanka will take on Bangladesh tomorrow.
It's played very fine.
Let's now cross over to Shanella Fernando at the Other Derana Weather Centre for your Forecast First evening edition.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
A very good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Your temperatures for tomorrow will range between 20 and 32 degrees Celsius, with the lowest yet again expected in the Central Hills. We're looking at the map. A low pressure zone will form from the east of the island and will gradually spread throughout the country. Well, Jaffna and Mannar will get continuous sunshine, but in the areas of Kandy, Colombo, Galle and Matara as well as Negombo will experience continuous showers. That's all we have from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Now, of course, we've reached the end of the bulletin, and of course, it is also Friday, so that means it's time for the good story of the week. Now, this week's story comes from India about a priest who has been feeding over 100 monkeys in the area for more than 40 years. His wife has been a great support to him over the years in this endeavour. That's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.